Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Business Shoutout, Jovan Walker. I'm so excited because today we're going to be talking to Dr. Cherlisa Jackson about her amazing company, Sheer. We're going to learn more about what she does, all the amazing things she has in store for 2024, and just get you an idea in terms of how you can be a part of some of the things, incredible things that she's doing. So welcome, Dr. Cherlisa Jackson. And I would first like to say thank you for joining in today. Thank you for being the first business shout out of 2024. And I'm so excited about that. And, I think what better way to start off with starting with someone in the mental health space. 2023 was a rough year for many people. And at the same time, we recognize like the mind has to be the change associated with what you want to seek accomplish or what you want to accomplish within your year or what have you. It's not just the day. So definitely thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So without further ado, this is Dr. Cherlisa Jackson, and I would love to just for you to introduce yourself and some of the things that you do and your business in general.
Ooh, J-Dub. Now, you know that's a loaded question.
I know.
Essentially, most people have kind of gravitated to the Therapy Thursday idea and just understanding me as a therapist, and that's fine. I love mental health. It is like the brainchild of what I do, and so it is absolutely essential to mention it. Most of what people don't know is that I am also into sexual health, and a lot of my dissertation information, researching out in the community when I attend public health conferences, I am certified as a health education specialist, so I do a lot of sexual health, disease prevention, health education, and promotion. And if it happens to be in a counseling session, then it is sexual health counseling. So whether that's the pleasure or the pain or the trauma parts of it, we do have it all in a big old nutshell. So my practice, as you mentioned, sexual health education, esteem, and relationships is specifically about the sexual health education and the relationships, because people want to talk about the breakups, they want to talk about the makeups, they want to talk about the divorcing and the widowing and all of the things that just have love written all over them. And esteem is at the core of all of it, because without a good self-esteem, it's impacting everything. So you are right on target to that being just kind of like a nutshell of what I do. And it has been impacting a lot of people. So yes, thank you.
Awesome. So this is a great conversation already. I can tell you that. We got a lot that we could talk about in a short period of time. But I want to focus in a little bit more. So you mentioned it's a sexual health as well. So who would you say are your target audience, or who's your target client?
So when it comes to the category, right, I recognize that it's in categories, because who I've been trying to target are people that literally look like me, Black women who have esteem concerns, or they have been struggling in systemic pressure and different ideas of the world. There's a limited amount of resources for us, unfortunately. And so I try to make sure that I'm available for the population that needs me the most versus the ones that can access me, which is a problem because not everyone has access to mental health. It is still technically a privilege, and that's just kind of the facts. So I am trying to make sure that I'm most available, but I have noticed that in my social media spaces, it's about 30 to 40-year-old Black men, and a lot of, I know I had no idea, but it was definitely different questions that people are asking, and we don't really give men the credit for asking. So them wanting to know about their mental health, wanting to know about what do you do post chasing women life or chasing people life? How do you actually tie yourself down to one person and actually commit to that decision? And a lot of people have asked those questions. So on the other side of things, I am targeting an audience that has not been naturally gravitating to me. And in the categories of relationships and sex, it's someone specific. But then when it comes to esteem, it's everybody. I see all genders, all ages, all racial groups and ethnicities. And it is something that is common for all people to find out a sense of belonging and unlearning what they've been taught. So right now, I guess I'm targeting in different categories based on what I'm saying. and I noticed that because you think target audience, you think it's everybody. And the one thing I had to unlearn is that it's not your family and friends. Like, even when you want to make sure that these people love you and they support you, that is not who you're you're targeting. That's not who your audience is. That's not who needs to be buying your book and coming to your websites and hit like and resharing all the time. And we get offended by
Yeah.
that because we're like, why not? I mean, you're supposed to be supporting me. But the reality is that you need to be giving it to the customers, the consumers of your product or your service. And that is actually your target audience, not the individuals who want to be supporting you out of love. So I am now learning what my target audience is and actually asking that audience what it is they need more of from me, since they are the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, that's good. You brought up a great point that many entrepreneurs need to understand. Like that is not what it's about. It's not about you recognize that you want your family to support you. That's great, but they're not that audience that is going to pay you for the services that you provide and really get the results that, you're looking to make in terms of impacts too. So, thank you for sharing that. Now, another thing is, so you're working with various pockets of people, various groups of people. Which one would you say that, like is the most, like the category that you get the most conversations about, or that you support people in the most?
Very good question. There's top two.
Okay.
One, of course, is the relationship part. I did not recognize, and I think if anybody's ever seen Eat, Pray, Love, she starts the movie out by saying, I could be here in all of these countries asking like world leaders about all of these amazing things about life. And what am I here to talk about? Love, relationships, breakups. And that's what everybody wants to talk about. And I'm recognizing that scrolling through my social media, TikTok, all that. Like it's a big part of where we are right now is people are trying to understand dating. They're trying to understand the relationships they're already in. They're trying to understand all of these ideas that they had at maybe 18 that they're now not attached to anymore at 30s and 40s, post kids, post decisions. And so a lot of it is relationship related. The other half is career readiness. I started to recognize that I have a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs, and I hit that wave right at the COVID pandemic space of like PPP loans and all that. So everybody was like, I think I can do it. But the hardest part is knowing that everybody's not meant to be an entrepreneur. We want that for people. Go and be, accountable for your own space, your time, your PTO is all you. But there's so much practice and discipline dedicated to when you do that. And I would not put everybody in the line of wanting that. Not everybody wants that. Not everybody wants to be leading and being a manager and a supervisor. They like their life moving through, and we can't have people feeling guilty because they choose that life. And so what I did notice is that a lot of people do want entrepreneurship, and they would bring it into session. And the thing that was stopping them was how they felt about themselves. And so if they didn't really feel like they could, then they wouldn't. And most of it is learning that you received the message, so it's for you. So if you create the lane, it's going to pop based upon what you do. It's your effort. So I try to help people find that middle ground of why they're stuck, not even just in their lives, but when it comes to relationships specifically, yes, but entrepreneurship is a big one. And I have helped a lot of people make six-figure, businesses and understanding themselves, trying to understand entrepreneurship themselves, figuring out how to make that work in a life where individuals don't really support that because they're telling you, you can't do that. There's no money in it. But the reality is that I can't do that. I don't see that for you because I don't know how to do it myself. And so we tend to piggyback and ask people that are not mentors or that are not leaders to guide us in that. And so when I started to find out, oh, this is my own entrepreneurship journey and I want to do it, and I've been in that lane for about 8 years now, I started to see people gravitating and asking, what are you doing? What is it that I can, how do I do that? Right. And so then many of the people that are on my schedule now are talking about not only their love and relationships, but it might be twofold of how do I leave this job? How do I make this dream come true? And so I started to find out career readiness and relationships are at the top of my list every day.
Awesome. So that's good. So, I mean, essentially, it's the human. It's what's going on in this heart, is what's going on in this mind, overall. So, like, are you walking people through their roadblocks in relationship and how to just really succeed and thrive?
hmm All of the things that individuals are holding on to and not recognizing those narratives don't belong to them,
Mm,
or family dynamics that have taught it to them, or societal expectations that keep them managing certain things they don't even like or believe in. And so when you're setting it out on the table to first say, these are the expectations I have of my life, this is the problem I have with disciplining that and following through, then I'm asking you, does it even belong to you? Because you're putting it
mm,
on your plate and not really being able to navigate it because that's your mom's goal. That's your grandmama and them's goal. That's somebody else's idea of what satisfaction and happiness is. And we're so in this comparison cycle that we have nothing else to do but to log into social media and see if we're on target with somebody else. But my plans for my life and how I'll do it is nothing like you. So even if it's overly saturated in theory, we have so many ways that we can bring such a fresh spin to it and do the things that we see in our vision because it's made up of our experiences and the products that we personally can do ourselves. And so that's the biggest thing, is walking someone through what belongs to you so that you can actually do something that belongs to you.
oh my gosh, this is good. It's like recognizing this doesn't serve me. So why
That's
am I here for it? Why am I talking about it? So, oh my gosh. So when it comes to, and I'm sure you get this, like you might have a client or what have you that comes and is like, I don't know what to do because a million people are doing this and a million people are doing that. And it's like, I'm just lost. I was lost. From what I heard you say, you take them and tell them what essentially belongs to you, and kind of like walking them through that, like that root issue of like getting past what the parents, the grandparents may have done and all that. And what would you say they are able to see in terms of their breakthrough?
Ooh, that there's a lot of unlearning to do from things that they've been ashamed of or
Mhm,
felt guilty to release. And so a lot of people have issues with boundaries. That's the number one thing I'm learning. I personally had to do for myself, was learning how to undo the things that I thought were acceptable, because if I don't, then there's this certain kind of disappointment I'm going to give to somebody, and there's going to be a certain kind of shame that happens to be connected to a religion or some sort of upbringing
mhm.
dynamic that I generationally, like, there's patterns that are attached to everything. And
Yeah.
the first thing is learning, not that you've been lied to, but so to speak, without, being able to say it differently. There's a lot
Right.
of different ways that people have taught you from what they knew. So
Yeah.
you are only as knowledgeable about the resources you have around you. So if that's the
Mm,
people, if that's the books you've read, if that's what you absorb all
mhm.
day, stimuli wise, and what you read and what you're looking at on TikTok
Yeah.
and all of these platforms, right? You are consistently absorbing and put to the test every day of what your capacity is. And so a
Mhm,
lot of people don't know their capacity. They don't know their thresholds, which makes it really
mhm.
hard to regulate your emotions. And
Yeah.
they've got to be regulated in order to be clear headed all day. So the clarity that you seek and that you want can't exist in clutter. And if you're not able to know how to decipher between the clutter, then you're not going to get to a vision that matches you. So a lot of times someone is trying to connect to that and say, well, how do I start? And it's first, well, what do you want? What do you want? What is it
Mhm,
that you feel like you can do? And somebody be like, I don't think I can. Oh, I don't know. Well, where is that coming from? Is that a narrative that you have been given because someone
mhm.
told you that and you just adopted it and you saw a bunch of examples to have this self-fulfilling prophecy, like, oh, see, here it is, it's true because it keeps coming true? Or
Yeah.
are you doing anything changed behavior wise for the goals that you want? And if not, then you're probably sitting in front of me to figure out how. Okay.
Right, right. No, I love it. It's like you unpacked a lot within that space, like just understanding the overall what you want for yourself and how to embrace that and how to take the action steps to get there. And that's where a lot of people, I feel, I know I have been in this place where I've kind of felt stuck because I saw so many things, thought I could do so many things, but then realized it was like, I'm just trying to do this for whatever reason that really wasn't self-fulfilling, if you will, like wasn't
Exactly.
fulfilling my overall destiny and overall goals and my heart's desires as a whole. So, that is crucial. And I think in 2024, and beyond, and whatever year this is, like it's necessary to always take that into consideration. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So when it comes to everything that you do, the work that you do, what is it that drives your passion to want to speak to people about this and continue to work with them one day in and day out?
Oh, such a wonderful question. And I'll tell you, it's a few different things, but the first thing that comes to mind is the impact.
Mhm.
Anytime someone sends me a message and they say, keep going, you have been helping me. Oh my goodness, this last, year has been so impactful. I couldn't see it until we did a review. If I am doing anything with the podcast and individuals are like sending me messages about the episodes, if they've read the book that I have out, Empowering Broken, by the way, shameless plug, then they're saying, this has impacted my life a certain kind of way. If it's just me leading in the community and they're saying, thank you for your presence, thank you for being, a leader in some sort of capacity that helps us know that it's possible. We've seen what has happened, for you. I am a first generation college student. So when it comes to that and what's been happening with my life, it was from the ground up. There was no guidance. It's not because people around me were not knowledgeable. It's just a lot different when you actually walk through it and you know exactly what to do in that kind of space and how to navigate it. And if it's never happened to you, then you don't know. So when people come to me and they say, thank you for how you're living your life, it lets me know this mountain can be moved. That not only is like, thank you, I appreciate that, but it's helpful to know that I'm on the right track, because a lot of times I'm not sure sometimes, because I'm like, I got all these goals and these things and they're not happening. And I'm measuring myself to stuff that hasn't happened yet versus actually looking in reflection and being like, you know what? You had a bomb year. That was amazing. Or, this past set of years has been really great. Look at what that impact has been. How many leaders have you created? How many mentorship opportunities, not, paid for per se, but just having a conversation with somebody, seeing them on the street, having a, random impromptu session on the bus going somewhere, or on the plane. Someone is constantly finding the aura that I have amazing. And I, again, would not create that space for myself. So there's not only the rewarding aspect of having individuals say it to you, but it's just knowing that I am continuing to follow what I said I was going to do. Yeah. Entrepreneurship wise, I am genuinely in that lane, whether I constantly have the support or not, whether individuals agree with where I'm going or not. It is literally a vision for me. And every time that I would ask or consult about it, and it kind of dims your light a little bit, because you're like, dang, I need a little bit more pumping and support. And honestly, it doesn't have to come from anybody else. It's nice to be validated in that way. But I think the thing that keeps me going is knowing that I am in my lane, like my actual lane. And if somebody's looking at my lane and being like, I want it to look like that, I would highly suggest that you don't. I like that you want to use me as a template. That's okay. But try not to do exactly what I'm doing, because it works best for me. It's something for me. So it's the impact I give myself and honoring me, and then the impact that others tell me that I'm giving to them. So it's been really awesome, actually.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's awesome. So you mentioned something that we didn't really talk about yet, but I definitely want to he said shameless plug, and I'm like, no, it's no shame here. None whatsoever. So we're gonna unshamelessly plug your podcast and book. I definitely want you to talk a little bit about both, so we can get some people, to follow in and see what you're doing.
Absolutely. So Therapy Thursday is a whole thing that I had. It was on a whim. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to help this community, right? I'm only one person. I don't have the money for the staff yet. I'm up and coming, still building. And there's so many ways that you want to spread out and disperse. And you have to be able to do that with enough hands involved. So I'm like, I definitely want a bigger message out there. I don't know what to do. So I turned to social media, hooked up the camera, was like, here's the message. And it just kept going. And when I took a break, so I was like, I don't really know the impact yet. I got a lot of feedback. It was like, where are you? I need my Therapy Thursday message, right? And so then that decided to continue being amazing. I don't know, but everybody's telling me that they love it. So I'm like, all right, cool. So what can I do with that? Well, I decided the podcast space, before everybody and their mama decides to have a podcast, I was opening up a platform for people to hear an extended message. So I'm like, Instagram, we're very, 7-second swipey kind of energy. So unless you've got something powerful for 90 seconds, people are going to swipe away. So I'm like, all right, I need something a little bit longer. So podcast, that is now even me, because even I have gone through a period of esteem and self-esteem, trying to understand self-awareness, anything really. And I needed to be able to have an idea for somebody else to connect to and find out that clinicians, people that look like experts, individuals who look like they have it all together, they have gone through some things and they have wisdom to share. And so for me specifically, I wanted individuals to be a part of that wisdom and to know that even though I'm a clinician, even though I'm in the space of researching and helping individuals in the world, that I am no different when it comes to the things that you're asking me about. And it actually helps that I've gone through it because I can make a better expert for you. If I was a person who had never been hurt and I wasn't ever in a dating space where I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to keep doing this, like I have not good for you. So it's okay that I've currently gone through it or have recently gone through it or previously gone through it, and I can actually speak to it and give you wisdom. I think a lot of times we're constantly in a space of trauma, and we only want to talk about that and thinking that that's vulnerability. But a lot of times we miss the fact that the wisdom is there. So the podcast gives the wisdom. The book gives the wisdom as well. That's Empowering the Broken. I am a survivor of an abusive relationship and have been out of it since 2015. And I'm very grateful for that. Awesome. At the same time, there are a lot of individuals who are also a part of those kinds of relationships, and we don't call them that. We're like, oh, we play like that. We talk like that. And just because you reconcile, somehow it's supposed to just erase certain things, and you're not actually assessing change behavior. You just miss each other. You're like, I just want to be back together, but you're really not looking at if you're healthy. So I am coming from, the past several years, 9 years almost, of having done the work, done the shadow work, done the embarrassing stuff, come out and actually admitted these things have happened so that I could be a better leader and to be able to help individuals understand not only domestic violence, to not only understand emotional regulation, to not only understand their personal self-esteem and how it impacts things, to make sure that you're in a healthy relationship and you're not avoiding them and constantly picking chemistry so that you can have the fire and the newness and actually being drawn to that versus somebody who's really going to matter to what you need. We tend to pick in the moment, and we're not picking for the future or what we might need with our growth and the things that we're doing because we're so bound on time and memories. And so I am definitely speaking in all of those spaces to remind individuals that not only am I human, but I'm a part of that human structure to know that, it takes time and it takes work to be able to address yourself and to love you, to really genuinely love you. And if you don't spend time with your thoughts, self-care is not there, then what do you really love? And what can another person really love about you? So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Like that adds so much color to, why it's important to listen to what you're sharing on Therapy Thursdays. By the way, I like your Instagram Therapy Thursdays. Those are dope. Like, it's like I always try to share like, hey, make sure my friends see them, like even inboxing them, people like, you got to check this out because we were just talking about this the other day, or so it's so relatable, it's so true, it's so real, it's so right now, it's so for the people that need to hear it, and it's so for the growth that many of us need to experience. So thank you for having Therapy Thursdays. I haven't listened to the podcast yet, but I definitely will check it out. And also when it comes to the book, making sure I'm tapping into that as well. So because of that, where do people find all of these? You got the podcast, you got the book. Where do we go?
There's so many places. And so you will find the book on Amazon. So Empowering the Broken. I haven't seen another title with this name, which is also really a beautiful thing. But you'll see it on there. It's on my website, though. Everything is on this website. And it's SheerLLC.com. So Sexual Health Education, Esteem, and Relationships LLC. So SheerLLC.com. You'll find research information. You'll find previous podcast things. Everything's not even on there. I need to really do like a revamp of what has actually happened, because most of that content is stuff that was started with the website and around like 2021. And then more stuff has been happening for the past 2 years. It's not visible, but it is in other places. So Instagram itself, Sinclair James, like living single, woo, 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 right? That's where I got it from. She has been my name since 2012. So on Instagram since that time. You've been following me. Thank you. I appreciate you. That name has not changed in that amount of time. So yeah, it's Instagram. It's everywhere else that's on that website.
Yeah.
And the podcast itself, if you Google Even Me and any podcast platform, I'm going to pop up. I did notice that another podcast show took that name probably like 5 months ago, and I had already been like almost 2 years in with this name. So it's like, it used to just be me, but now if you put my name with it, you'll see it's purple cover art, and you'll see my whole face.
Okay. Awesome. So no, like, listen, they're gonna go to now Sinclair James. I don't know how to spell it.
Oh, SYNCLAIRE.
Yes. I don't want to misspell it. They're not following the right one.
Absolutely.
So definitely check her out on Sinclair James on Instagram. For those of you who are joining the Instagram, thank you for joining in. If you guys had any questions, make sure that you shoot some questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want to share in here. Even those that are watching on Facebook and YouTube as well. Thank you all for joining in. But we definitely had the incredible Dr. Cherlisa Jackson share some amazing insights in terms of what she's doing within Sheer and the support that she provides for those that are wanting to take their lives to the next level in relationships, in business, in various aspects of their life, and sexual healing, all those areas. It has been very, very insightful to hear from you, to learn more about what you're providing, and just to know that you are a resource within a community of people, whether it's men, whether it's women, Black, white, Hispanic, or what have you. You are providing that level of resource, and that is, amazing. That is very noteworthy, and that's very admirable that you are a servant in this area.
Thank you. Yes.
Provide that resource.
Everybody, my caseload is very diverse. It's very diverse, all things. So I'm grateful that you had me on today. I'm also happy that you are creating a space for us to be spotlighted in a way for our businesses and what we do in the community. It's very much so needed. So thank you.
No problem. It's all part of what it's supposed to be, giving and being the gift that keeps on giving. So awesome that you were on here. One thing I didn't ask.
Yes.
Where are you located?
Hey, that's a really good question. So currently, and hopefully for a while, unless, this 800 million Powerball kicks off, I don't know. I might be somewhere else in the morning. But at the moment, I am in Atlanta, Georgia, and all of my counseling services have moved to being virtual for the entire state of Georgia for all things. And if you need supervision, if you are an LPC looking for that, or looking for LPC licensure and mental health licensure, I am also a certified professional counselor supervisor as well, so that I can provide that guidance for anyone coming in with their license and they need those hours. So.
Oh, wow. See, that's awesome. So it's all virtual, guys.
All virtual.
Here first. She does provide the virtual sessions, as well as also it sounds like certification.
And workshops and panels, anything that you need. I am doing it right now. And I'm like, I'm going to spread these services everywhere in all capacities, doing everything other than just therapy, though it is very needed.
That's awesome. Somebody just said that somebody won the Mega Ball already, or Powerball already.
Was that Michigan? That was the Michigan one.
Yeah, it was Michigan.
Dang, I just need one good million. That's all right.
Listen, that's all. There's so much that can be done. Like, so much that can be done. But no, like, it has been a pleasure to have you. So before we wrap it up or what have you, what's maybe one key thing that you want to share with those that are joining us in terms of what they should be doing in this 2024, or what they should be looking forward to?
So glad you asked that. Self-care is the hill I will die on for everybody, because self-care, if you are not comfortable with your own thoughts, you don't like your own time, or you say I like to be alone, but you don't really test that theory by actually using your space while you're by yourself to maximize yourself, then I will definitely say self-care. I think right now we need to be managing our expectations of what happens in the colder months. We don't do that enough. We constantly set these really righteous, amazing goals when it's really warm outside, and then all of a sudden it starts to get colder and you're less motivated, and now you're kicking yourself, when really it's about how you feel based upon the season and what happens to your body, our circadian rhythms. Like, start learning that. Start learning how mental health works in connection with the rest of your body, understanding how it works with your environment, so that when, like a moment right now in January and December, you make these really, ooh, new me, new year kind of goals, and then you're mad at yourself in like 2 weeks because you fall through, but you're not actually managing the expectation of when you're making that commitment. And a lot of our goals don't need to be that boisterous when it's January. Like, just be mindful of the fact that the sun is going down at like 2 p.m. and that you are tired. And it's okay that you're not okay today, and that you have 100 things on this to-do list. I would start looking at the Eisenhower matrix, which is another way to look at urgency versus importance. So a lot of stuff that gets placed on our to-do list, we say it's absolutely urgent, and we're not actually looking at the fact that it's just important, but it's not urgent. So if you're having trouble managing your expectations, you're having trouble managing yourself, then I would make sure that you tune in to putting yourself on the front burner, at least as of January 2nd. I would start today.
Awesome. Now that right there, that's a lot, right? What you just shared, that is amazing, because we are in that place of, hey, we got to get it, we got to get it, we got to get it, and it's just like it's too dark out there.
Right.
The light ain't even on, so.
Correct.
So thank you once again for sharing that. For those of you who have joined in, once again, thank you all for joining. I know that this has been a very, very impactful session, that you guys gained a lot of information from what Dr. Cherlisa shared. Make sure that you're following her on Facebook and on Instagram. I did list her Instagram in the ticker below, but also make sure you go to her website too. Check out all the amazing things she has going on, her podcast, her books. Check it out, guys. Book her for your next whatever, whether it's a session or a panel or a workshop or whatever. But she is a valuable resource to the community at large. So you definitely want to tap into the things that she's doing. For those individuals that have watched this and are like, hey, I want to learn more about how I can get a business shout out, reach out to me, okay? Reach out. There is a way to be a part of what's going on here, and I would love to spotlight your business. I'm putting that at the ticker below. It's the info at thinkaboutit.llc.com. Make sure you join us, join in on the action, so that more people can hear about you, more people can learn what you do. You never know who's going to be watching.
Yeah.
Never. So check that out. In the meantime, have a great rest of your evening and an amazing week. God bless.
Thank you.